Join me right now on Kumite TV is undefeated heavyweight Chopper Chai Lewis-Parry. What's going on, man?
What's happening, my guy?
Let's talk about last March, man. Your last fight, Rise of
Yeah.
Champions 7, the main event. You fought to a draw. It seemed like you didn't like that call, man. What were you thinking during that time?
To be honest, I was annoyed, but I didn't like that fight. I didn't like at that particular time. I didn't like the opponent because of how the first one went. I think I took things a little bit personal with the intentional. When I go to fight, I don't go to injure somebody. It's like going to training. I don't try to intentionally injure somebody because I understand the realities that unless you're Conor McGregor or DC, these guys are making legit money. That this is all they can do. Other people got to work still, So I would never go in there and intentionally try to put somebody out of a job, so to speak. And I felt like my opponent did that or intended to do that. And once he saw that I was injured, he kept going for that injury. And that's like a career-ending injury. It's bigger than that. It's something that could put you out of just everyday things, everyday life. So I took it personal and I went into that fight. I didn't have to take that fight. I just wanted to get him back. And that was the wrong attitude to have. And, I just lacked motivation. I was very unmotivated for that fight. You could see I didn't really want to be there. I didn't want to do it. I felt like I was getting the points thing was ridiculous. That's both fights. They've taken a point and then it's a draw. So technically, give me back those points. I win both fights. So I was disappointed, but more disappointed at the fact that I even was there. You know what I mean?
You get to move on, man. You move on into a heavyweight title fight, which is a beautiful thing. But let's go back to your first trip to Abu Dhabi. You had an impressive performance. You went out there. You completely viciously took out your opponent. How did you feel about that performance that you had?
It was the whole experience, to be fair, was probably the best experience I've had with any promotion because I got to go out there with friends. Obviously, Oli Thompson, who main evented that card, is a good friend of mine, and we trained together for that fight. So the whole experience was fun. We were all there, enjoying it. The promotion treated us really well, and just everything leading into it was just smooth. It was the first time I ever really had that, and I enjoyed it. The performance, it was what it was. I wasn't particularly motivated for the guy, but I was just motivated to perform and win because it'd been a while. It was my first fight back since the injury last year. So I was motivated to get the W. And as soon as I saw the opportunity to take him out, I just took him out, So I did. Overall, I felt good.
Well, it seems like you've been lacking motivation for the last two fights. Has that changed because, you have something to fight for now? You have this title that you're going for?
Definitely. I kind of made my voice heard when I was there last in January. And I said, look, I'm the kind of guy that's just, people treat me right, I'm happy to be there. I do believe, I thrive on competition. I like the competition to be high because then I challenge myself. That's where the motivation is. I think as a human being, the main goal of life is to overcome challenges. Accept them, face them, run from them, or challenge them. And I like the challenge because it lets me know who I am and it tells me a lot about my character. And so if the competition, I kind of feel like you do get drawn into the level of your competition if you're not careful, So I do. I like the idea of fighting the big names, and that's what the motivation always will be. But until then, I take what comes, and I enjoy being in a privileged position that I get to fight. Something that I love doing. So I'm grateful. I'm never expecting of some special kind of treatment, but I know my worth, and I'm grateful for what I get to do.
You said you made your voice heard. Did you leave Abu Dhabi knowing that you could go back and fight for a title for a new promotion? Not really a new promotion, but another named promotion, UAE Warriors?
We talked about it for sure. I always make sure that at the end of my post-fight interview or in the ring interview, I will always try to angle my next position. So I let everybody know at the same time as I let the officials know that this is what I want, this is my intention, this is how I feel, this is where I would like to go. So then there's no curtain over the eyes of anybody. No one can say, oh, you didn't do this or you didn't want to do that. So I said it to everybody at the same time. This is what I would like to accomplish. This is the position I'm in now. And this is where I'd like to go. Let's see what you think. And I kind of did that with the post-fight interview. And then we loosely talked about it. And Oli fought on he went back and fought on the last show for the light heavyweight. He dropped to light heavyweight because obviously we're both heavyweight. And massive respect to him for that, because he wanted me to have the opportunity to fight heavyweight, knowing that I can't get to 205. So I respect him for that. And yeah, the talks were there. The talks were definitely there. And now we are definitely there, 1 week away.
Well, I didn't know that. I didn't know that Oli dropped down to light heavyweight in kind of respect to you, so you could go chase after the heavyweight title. Because I spoke to Oli a few times, and he never mentioned nothing about that. So, respect to Ali, man.
He's a humble guy, He's very, very respectful. I've got nothing but love for him. And we talked about it, and he said, he's done 205 before. And where it's tougher for him, I'm a lot bigger than Oli. I'm a lot taller. So for me, 205 is just really unrealistic. I mean, if you told me it was 220, I couldn't even get to it. So, respect to him for giving me an opportunity, really. Because he could have easily gone in and fought a heavyweight. But me and him would never fight. So it kind of leaves me without a pot to piss in, sitting there going, all right, well, I guess I'll just fight for fun while you fight for the glory, So, respect to Oli. He effectively, positioned this opportunity for me.
Definitely. Well, you're facing Ben Adwubi. What are your thoughts on him and how he matches up against you?
Nah. That's not happening now.
What?
Opponent changed again. The opponent changed again. Yeah. These guys don't want it. They don't really want it. So apparently he got injured. I don't know. I'm only going by what I was told. He got injured in camp, so he got replaced with the replacement, the backup fighter that was there last time, Mahmoud Hassan. He is now the opponent. So he's an Egyptian. He's a teammate of the guy I fought in January. So I guess they're going to try and get one back, which they got no chance. But you know what? He's stepping in and he's giving me a fight. So I can do nothing but admire and respect him for that. I can sit. I'm not going to trash talk him, because as much as everyone wants to hear that, if it wasn't for him stepping up, I wouldn't be. We'd be having this conversation under very different circumstances.
Definitely. Well, let's talk about your training camp, man. Like, have you, traveled outside of the UK, or have you spent the whole time there?
No, I spent the whole time here. I was in the process of moving, so it wasn't really feasible for me to jump around. I did consider going back to California, but I knew that I was going to be going back out to Cali for DC's camp. So that kind of didn't work. The idea of going there from my camp, coming back, and then going to Abu Dhabi to fight, then coming back, and then going back to Cali is like, let me just stay here, focus on mine. When I'm done, I'll go and help DC, and just made things a little bit more comfortable for me.
How much has going out to California and working with DC, and how much has it changed you as a fighter, as a mixed martial artist?
I'll tell you what, I've never been somebody who's lacked or been short of confidence. Like even as a kid, I was just always a very confident person. I never really cared what people thought. But going there and competing with those guys on a daily basis just made my confidence even better. Because you realize, you can chop it up with guys who are Olympians and elite. Some of the guys there are elite strikers and guys that train world champions. You can chop it up with those guys coming from where I come from. So I pride myself on my striking and my mental toughness. So going there only enhanced that. So I learned a lot. It definitely changed my approach to fighting, and it made me a lot more dynamic, a lot more sensible, more of a sensible fighter to somebody who just wants to kind of get in there and tear limb from limb. So I think the AKA experience definitely helped me evolve, for sure.
In the UK, for this camp, who are the coaches that you've been working with, focusing with on, and like the training partners that has been working closely with you?
Right, I'll tell you a little secret, right? Before I start mentioning names, I'm a very solitary human being. Like, as much as I go to AKA and there's a wealth of athletes and fellow competitors and coaches, I'm a very solitary person. I feel like if you can get comfortable in your own space with yourself, then you can become unbreakable. Because a lot of people depend on people. They can create these superstitions that if X, Y, Z isn't there, then I'm going to fail or I'm not going to perform. I need this person. So I don't need to have anybody around me. I could rock up to a fight on my own and I could get myself ready and I could go out there and compete. And I pride myself on that. But it's very important to have a solid team, someone who kind of shares the same passion, the same dream. And I've been working with Shane Kent, who is my striking coach. We teamed up last year, and he's out of Kicks Martial Arts in New Haven. So that's down on the south coast of England. He's got a very similar sort of a K1 mind to me. And obviously, K1 is like my love, my passion, and he's got a very similar mind. And while I was living down on the south coast, I trained a lot with jiu-jitsu coach Tony Plested. And then when I came away from the coast, I trained with Jay Butler. Both very different jiu-jitsu styles, but very complementing of my style as a fighter.
I saw you've been working with Vinnie Shoreman. Also, a lot of guys nowadays, they're getting into the mind coaches and mental coaches. And talk about the experience you had with him and the effects of his methods.
Right, so first I need to say is, Vinnie, I'm going to call you, I promise. I've been meaning to call Vinnie for a few days now, maybe like a week, because last time I went up to see him. But I've had so much on that I've had this necessity to be selfless for other people, and I've just been focusing on helping some other people before I'd been trying to help myself. So I know he's probably disappointed that I haven't called him. So Vinnie, I promise you I'm going to call you today. But Vinnie is a very, he probably doesn't seem it at first glance, but he's a very spiritual person. He's somebody who's in great connection with himself. He understands himself, therefore he can help you understand yourself. And that's, I think, so important. There's so much strength in that. A lot of people are built based on other people's ideas of what they should be. And I think that's wrong. Personally, I think that's wrong, because you're always living to somebody else's expectation. Therefore, you never really know who you are and what you're capable of. And Vinnie, I think it's easy to forget that that you are kind of a product of your environment. And it's easy to get sort of lost in this maze of what does Jonathan Edwards think, or what does Lisa Payne think? Do you know what I mean? So Vinnie kind of helps you peel away those perceptions of others and kind of find your own identity. And talking to him, I had a conversation. The first time I spoke to him, I reached out and he responded immediately. And the very brief conversation I had with him, he reminded me of things that I already knew, but it was a long time ago. Things that I believed about myself. But as you get older and you get responsibility, and you kind of inherit these very negative experiences through experience, and you hold on to them. That's a sad thing. It's like wiping a sponge through the dirt. Even when you rinse it under the tap, you're still left with some dirt, some grit. That's kind of like the negative experience, and he kind of helped me rinse some of that away, just in a brief conversation. And it's all about the way that you approach things. And I actually went up to see him a couple of weeks ago, and I trained. He set up some training for me at Four Corners Gym in Liverpool, and man, it was a great experience, because I felt like everybody there was in the same mindset. There was no ego there. Everyone was trying to help me. They never met me before. It's the first time I met Vinnie, and he introduced me to this group of guys that all decided, we're going to help you, and we don't want anything from you. That was just like, wow, like I still have some faith in humanity yet,
Yeah, that could blow anybody's mind. A lot of people, when they help you, they have some kind of motive, some kind of, something that pushes them to help you because they want
Of
something
course.
back. And when you go
Yeah.
there and you don't feel that, it is an incredible feeling. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you right now.
Yeah.
I've been following you. Glory. Everything came on, all that stuff, and it blows my mind that you're not signed to the UFC. Why are you not signed to the UFC yet?
What's usually the reason that people don't get what they want? It's politics, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of politics that surround my career, and it's not that straightforward. There's a lot of legal things that go on behind the scenes, and I'm trying to iron those out, and it just takes time. It takes so much time. I've had plenty of offers that I've just not been able to accept. So until I'm completely in the clear, I can't really entertain those ideas. I mean, they're still there. All I can do right now is just focus on staying active and staying relevant. So as long as I stay relevant, then the conversation is always there. But, for me, look, it's different for me now. I've reached a point in my career where I just want to enjoy it. I'm not fussed about that. I don't attain to be the pound for pound greatest. I don't care about that. But I'll fight anybody. Put the person in front of me. You want to have some fun? Let's have some fun. Kind of like how Mark Hunt is. Just like, let's fight. He likes fighting. And I kind of reached that point where I just have fun. So I'm enjoying it. I'm not trying to be. I want to avoid that guy. I want to. A lot of guys map their career because they want to get to the title. Let's just say I don't want the title, so I'm not interested in that. Just give me names. Give me names. Let me have fun. So that's kind of somewhere where I'm at, and I don't know if that fits into these big promotions agenda. So I don't know. We'll see. Once things are sort of with the legal side of things are okay, then we'll talk. But until then, I'm open to fighting on any show and just having fun. Just give me some fun, guys, man. Let's just have some fun.
Definitely. You're a elite striker, a Glory veteran. Another guy. He just recently went to the UFC. Israel Adesanya. I want to get your thoughts on him. He went in there, just ran the table, got the interim title. Incredible what he has done. What do you think about his rise?
I mean, yeah, it's fast, isn't it? I mean, considering he was in Glory and he lost, I think it just goes to show that if you're an elite level striker and you have good takedown defense, you don't have to have incredible takedown defense. You just have to have good enough that you can keep the fight standing long enough to light them up. Then you can go as far as you want to go. And look at him; he's a champ now. So I've got nothing but respect for the guy. He's done really good things. I'm sure he feels very accomplished in himself. He's had some really good fights, even on the smaller shows. He just put in the work. You can see somebody of his skill level deserves to be a champion. It's a shame when you see guys that are so talented, but they never become that icon. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sure in his part of the world, he is considered an icon already, and he's just getting started. Really, to think about things like that. Like I was saying, he got to fight Anderson Silva. That is something that I would love to be able to say. Oh, I got to fight Anderson Silva, because they're the names. These are the legends. These guys have been there. These guys were there when you were dreaming about learning how to throw a right straight. So that in itself to me is that's an accomplishment. You got to compete with the best. I wish I could say that back in the day I got to fight against Ernesto Hoost. I love the guy. The guy is perfection. But these things are these are the things to me that are define you. It's who did you get to compete against, and that's part of your legacy. A bit of plastic, a bit of metal, really is great, but it's not as important as how you feel in terms of accomplishment in your career.
You were in the news, recently. You ran into Jon Jones again, at a fitness and health event. First of all, what did you think about the security guard that stepped in between you and Jon?
He was doing his job, wasn't he? He was just, he probably saw, fuck, I'm going to have to earn my money now. But look, I'll tell you what, I'll put it, quite frankly, I would never, especially there was kids and that around there, I would never go somewhere and just start a ruckus in front of kids. I was never going to go there and start swinging punches and stuff like that. But I was definitely going there to speak my mind, because I have a very strong disdain for that man. And I felt like, well, if you're going to be, we're in the same place, why would I not let you know? Because there's a lot that's gone on that's been said. People don't realize, so they just make up their own assumptions. But as far as the security guard, I think he was just doing his job. He was all right. He didn't.
Yeah, he looked kind of shook though when he had to step in. He was just like you said, he's like, oh man, I'm gonna have to earn my money today.
Yeah, he probably thought it was going to be a lot. He doesn't know me, so he probably thought, fucking hell, here's a big guy. He's going to start some shit. I'm going to have to, because he was a very slender guy. He was tall but slender, and yeah, he was just doing his job. He was all right, but he did look a bit concerned. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Now you were saying that your brothers weren't there. What is the context of that? What were you referring to?
So, all right. Well, here's the story. You're getting the exclusive. Back we was at a press conference when DC was supposed to fight Jon the second time at the when was it? I think it was the MGM. We're backstage. So prior to that, DC and Jon had done an interview, and I'd never met Jon. I had no reason to speak to him. I was part of DC's team. I had no ill feeling towards him. I was just a training partner for DC, so I had nothing to say. But they finished the interview, and I was like, oh, do you know what? He seems like quite a decent guy. Until we got outside the building, then he just turned into this yapping guy that can't get into the club, talking all this shit like to security guard, that kind of guy, And he's attacking like everybody. He's picking everybody out. Rosendo was there. Bob Cook was there. Some other guys. I can't remember who they were, but some other guys there. And he's just talking. And DC and him are having a back and forth, which is part of the fun, isn't it? Entertainment. But that's between them. I'm not going to start talking shit to the guy. I don't know him. So then he turns to me and he starts talking shit about me. And I'm just like, well, why are you even talking to me? Why are we even having a conversation? And it got a little bit heated. Like security came, and because I'll be honest, like I might talk smack, and I might, but it's all fun. It's all in wit. I'm not insulting anybody's mum or anybody's kids or anything like that. I don't get personal like that. I understand it's a sport and it's entertainment we promote, but I'm the same guy that would talk shit to my friends. Do you know what I mean? We'll play video games and I'll let them know that they suck. Like, that's me. It's just my personality. There are people like that all over the world. And he just started getting quite personal to the point where I was like, well, then let's fight right now. Let's fight. Like a street fight. Security came, blah, blah, blah. We got in the car. We left. Well, we went to the arena to do this press conference like an hour later. And I was backstage and I bumped into Alistair Overeem, who I've known for many years. So I was with the group, but DC and them went. They carried on walking. They didn't see me stop. So I stopped. I'm talking to Alistair for like 10 minutes, catching up with him. Hadn't seen him in a while. When I turned to leave, here comes Jon and his brothers and like an entourage. It was like, I don't know, like 5 or 6 people. And they tried to surround me. Like they're gonna fucking jump me or something. So I just squared up to Jon and was like, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? His brother started getting involved and jumping up and down and like he was going to do, like, everybody hold me back. He was going to do something. So it was like, he wasn't on his own, but he had like his manager or something with him at the first encounter. But the second time he had all his brothers, all of a sudden he was a different guy. Now, I'm not saying that he was afraid the first time, but he was not as cocky the first time. He wasn't as willing to step forward. But the second time, he had his brothers being all loud and noisy, that he's kind of stepping to me. And I said, oh, so now you got your brothers, you wanna, do you know what I mean? And that was the meaning behind that. It was like, where's your brothers now? Because he was happy standing behind that table, kind of the same way, but he comes over to say to the security guard, don't hold him back. But he's still behind the security guard. You see what I'm saying? So it's all a facade. It's all this bullshit. I'm not saying, I'm sure he'd be happy to fight me, but in the cage, he wasn't happy to fight me in the street.
Well, you get the fight, man, July 5th for the
Yeah,
heavyweight
buddy.
title, man. And I'm looking forward to you back into the cage. Abu Dhabi, or not even Abu Dhabi Warriors. It's UAE Warriors, the second
UAE
event
Warriors.
in Abu Dhabi. Thank you, man, so much for your time, and
Thank
good
you.
luck to you and your future.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much, man.